Hello everybody, welcome to another tutorial. Today I want to go over just basic drawing exercises that we have learned in class, and for anybody else watching, these are great exercises just for your everyday practice. They help build up your skill, their techniques. If you have issues with like your line development, your form, your shape, proportion, these are really great exercises. I always encourage my students to do these as much as possible. These are something we learned in class early in the year. So this should be a review for any of my students watching. But I just wanted to have a video for you guys to review because I have had a lot of you ask, what could you be practicing right now? So these are great things you can practice. Here are the three that we're going to discuss today: gesture or gestural, observational, contour, and continuous line. Okay, let's get to it. First of all is gesture, and let me just show you some pre-done examples from a few years back. What is gestural? Those are those very fast-acting fluid lines. The point of this is to go fast, is to try to work with the mechanics of your hand. If you're observing something, it's to really train your eye to look more at your object rather than your drawing. But this is just a great way to loosen up your lines. Remember, we don't want those stiff, hard outlines. They don't really help you much. You can do this in a lot of various ways. The great thing about this is that you can break something down very basically with gestural lines in almost a shape form, and then build up your form that way. So in this case, this is more boxy. This page is a bit more on the round, okay? We did a lot of this in class as we work with figure drawing. So even if you want to start off with something extremely simple, almost stick figure-like, and then just build up those lines, and you can start getting your human forms a lot more proportionate. The actions, a couple of you guys, even my advanced kids were showing me some drawings this week, and a couple of you were asking, they look pretty stiff. These are great ways to help you improve that stiffness, to give you more flow to your lines, okay? And again, doesn't have to be form. It could be just a figure, form of your hand or something like that. It can be really any object that you want to work with. So the big thing with this, of course, is having those loose lines. So if I'm drawing, an action here, again, you can even start off with something really simple, like kind of stick figure-like. Let's do someone jumping in midair. Okay, so we're gonna go with erase that line. I don't know what that was all about. Head, kind of figure out what is your torso. Where's that line gonna look like? What will the arms look like? And if something's jumping, I'm gonna have like the bent knee kind of jump out look. Where would those things go? So that's very simple, but you can build from here. So from here, I can add on, I can go a bit more round, kind of figure out, okay, what's that torso gonna look like? What are those arms gonna look like? Think about shape, right? What is each shape going to look like? Check out my hand. It is very loose. I'm not grounded into the paper. I'm really just creating lots of lines. Remember, most of these lines I'm not going to end up using, but I need them there to kind of figure out the problem that I'm working on. Okay, so we're kind of building, that's a bit more round, and then that could take us to the next step. Start adding in a bit more detail like your neck. Okay, so like where would your shoulder line go if your arms were jumping in the air? And then we kind of go back to almost to the linear, but we can go a bit more, almost like the drawing mannequins we use in class, guys. That's a great way. And they're very cheap if you're looking for them. They have them on like Amazon and stuff. Of course, Blick has them. They're pretty cheap. And then you just start building from there. Where's your hip line gonna go? Sorry, guys. This amazing rain that just came out of nowhere is also, all my plants are just blooming like crazy, and with the rain, and I just woke up sneezing, so my nose is running because of that. So, I mean, I could keep going from here and just build and build and build. But again, the whole purpose is it's really going to help you with your form. So those who, keep telling me, oh, I can't do anything beyond stick figure. Yes, you can. Start with basic shapes and just build from there. And it takes time, guys. It's not something you're going to get done in one sitting, maybe even two. You need to do this a lot. And that is really going to be a great way to loosen up those lines, make them look a bit more organic and flowy. Gestural doesn't always have to just be figure either. You know, if you want to go around your house and stuff and practice gestural drawing, that's something else you can do with just things you see. So like I have my pencil sharpener right here, my electric ones, like the one we have in the classroom. So, you know, if I just wanted to do a quick drawing, because I'm just trying to work on those lines, trying to get on, loosening up those things, you know, I can still use the same thing. It doesn't always have to be figure. It's just quick. And you get some beautiful lines out of it. You really kind of discover some things from it. It's great for problem. Like, okay, I don't care what this drawing looks like. I just need to figure out, what does this position look like? What do these angles look like? And so that's a great way to do that. So yeah, there's my pencil sharpener really quick, like you guys saw in 5 seconds. All right, next up is observational. So that's kind of our next step. Well, you know what, I'm going to flip it. Let's talk about contour and continuous line, because that's sort of the more natural progression of where we would go next. And you guys remember this. This is when I drove you all nuts because I took away things like your vision, when I put plates over your hands, or I told you just not look at things. Remember, contour is the outside shape of an object. That is your only focus. You're not worried about shading, you're not worried about details, you're looking for the shape, you're looking for the basic form. And that's so important, especially if it's something a bit more complicated that you're having problems figuring out. So something like the hand, that's what we practiced in class. Even though you have practiced with your hand before, do it again. You have a hand attached to you. You know, it's something you can draw. I have drawn my own hands over hundreds of times, I guarantee you, and I will always find something new to learn from it. So do your hands. So there's a gestural, real quick. Remember, continuous is where you do not break contact with that paper, and that is really activating your left and right brain. It is forcing you to think about your mechanics, how loose or how stiff are your lines. And then contour and blind contour, of course, is when you're just looking at the shape. Blind contour is you're not looking at your paper at all. It always looks kind of crazy, but that is because you're really focusing on just drawing your eye, your artist's eye, looking at that detail. So another example of our hand progression here, we have gestural lines, quick action lines here, contour, literally just the outside, and then our blind contour or continuous line. And so let's just do that real quick. Let's see here. I'll go ahead and do my hand. That is something we're familiar with. Those who have never done this before, it's a great way to start. So just kind of get your hand, your non-dominant, non-drawing hand into some sort of position. You can rest it. So let's start off with gestural. We just went over that. So again, loose lines. You want to just build, kind of just figure out, you know, what does each part of your hand look like? Don't worry too much about like what the whole overall product's gonna look like. This is your practice, and I'm not gonna lie, guys, I'm a little rusty. I haven't practiced this in a while, so I'm like, whoa, I haven't done this in a while. This is great practice for me too. This is something I kind of come back to as we've been quarantined here, and I'm starting to do a bit more of my own art. I am just a couple of medias and materials or things I'm trying to draw. I haven't drawn in a long time, so I'm having to like kind of go back to my basic practice things here, just like this, and go, okay, how do I do this again? Okay, this is a great way to practice to kind of just get me back in. It's like when you don't play your sport for a while and you go back to like pre-training and they have you do things like very basic just to get your muscle memory back. It's the exact same thing with drawing. It is, you know, so much part of your body and how you use it. So this is very rough, but I'm trying to go fast so this video is not forever. So, okay. Very, very rough basic gesture, but again, it's getting me going. It's a good warm-up. It's getting me looking at things. I could even draw my ring if I wanted to. Okay, next I'm going to do contour. And so I'm only going to really try to look at my hand here and just draw exactly what I see. I know I'm a little out of camera there. Let me scooch over here. And again, remember, so much about contour and blind contour is about the process. Slowing down, and man, do we have time to slow down right now. So slow down, really just start looking at things a completely different way. And I mean, I'm like getting real metaphorical here because I'm like, oh wow, isn't that just such a metaphor for kind of what we've been forced to do right now? Slow down and look at things. So contour is a perfect example of how that works with art. It's just allowing you to see things differently. And remember, it's not about the product. For my perfectionists out there who need every single piece of art you do to look exactly how you want it, this is, I know, is such a challenge, but it's a good challenge for you. You've got to let go. You've got to make mistakes. You know, what does our friend Bob Ross say? They're happy mistakes. That's what really art is. Every mess up you do in art is a happy mistake because you're going to learn something from it and you can maybe even use it. So there's my very fast blind contour. I'd go slower if I were you. Again, I'm trying to get this video done, but go slow, take your time. So that's my blind contour, and it almost actually will look like a continuous too, because when I do blind contours, I tend to not break contact with my paper, but you might do the same. So let me label just for my viewers. And I know you guys couldn't see me blind contouring if I was cheating or not. I wasn't, but you don't have to believe me. And then continuous line, you're not breaking contact. And I kind of shifted in my seat here, so I'm going to see something a little bit different than my other two drawings. But remember, don't break contact. You just have to backtrack your line. It's like working with an Etch-a-Sketch. You just kind of have to figure out where you start off and how you can make that work. It's exactly the same, it's just a different mechanical challenge that of your blind contour, where you are just trying to work your mechanics, get your eye to see something differently, get your hands to work in a different way. You're not using that flippin' eraser, right? And again, we don't really care about what that looks, but I kind of love it when I do like the progression. I love all the lines on my page, and a lot of times I'll take this and turn this into something else. So, okay, that is our gesture, blind contour, and continuous. Great practices. Same thing, you don't have to stick with your hand or figures. You can do trees in your yard, flowers in your yard, boxes of cereal with some cereal spilled out, candy, whatever you have lying about the house. Finally, observational. And that is just drawing from life, not pictures off your phone, looking at something, how is the light catching it, and going, you know, slow or fast, depending on how perfect or whatever you want. These are fast. Gestural lines have been used, but there's a bit more detail. There's shading. You're paying attention to levels and angles and how do things work with light and all of that. So observational drawing, just drawing what you have around you and seeing. Here's another great exercise. This is from class 2. Let me put this on paper you guys can see. Some of you guys have done this with me, where I have you take an object and then just a paper and cut it in 4s, and you have to do studies. So like, remember when we have used our fingers as viewfinders, and you just narrow in on a certain part of that object. So this is scissors. So these are the handles of the scissors, the middle part, it tips it kind of at a different angle. And then you go back in and do all your detail and shading. It's a great way to work with shading, light, interesting shapes that can be really well abstracted. So with your observational, just again, use what you have around your house. I got Mr. Pencil Sharpener right here, so I'm just going to use that guy. And again, you can start off with light gestural lines. And I'm going to go fast. I'm not going to finish this whole drawing. But these are just wheelhouse practices you should have in your wheelhouse. They will help you immensely. If you are just stuck, bored during the day, watching TV, pull out paper, pencil, pen, whatever you got. And these are just some really great practices, like I said, that are going to help with mechanics. They're going to help you see better. They're going to just doing stuff like this over and over again. It makes such a huge difference. It's practice. It's like, I can't emphasize, it's just like an instrument or a sport. You're never going to get any better if you only use it when you're playing a game or playing a concert, right? You could do some block shading. So remember, block shading is where you come and see the extreme highs and lows in terms of our light. So I see like a really dark section up here. And again, this is fast. I have my little holes for my pencil here. They're really dark. And then like I got some weird kind of shape work back here, but this is pretty light, this is pretty light, but these are like really dark underneath here. So remember, block shading is you're just kind of scribbling, but you're blocking off where those high, really dark shaded areas are going to be, the really light shaded areas, and then working from there. So I just continue on. I could add my shadow that I see, but again, observational drawing, such a handy tool. You guys can use your hatching, cross-hatching, stippling, regular blending, and do a lot of great things. So these are our 3 really easy to do at home drawing exercises I encourage you guys to do regularly to keep up with your practice: gesture, observational, contour, and continuous line, and blind contour. All right, get drawing, guys.